What's up, world? It's your boy Jaron Ikner back again for another video for Starstruck TV. This time we're talking about the ever so elusive Jermaine Cole, as he has dropped his long-awaited album, The Off Season. I do believe that this album has been in the making for about 5 or 6 years now. This is the continuation of his series that he has put out. I don't remember the other two right now off the top of my head because I'm doing this on the fly, but you know the series. But this is his first album in about 3 years. His previous album being KOD, which was a decent album. This album seems to kind of continue in this kind of backpacker kind of bar up lane that J. Cole has been steering in ever since his first two albums. And I'll probably dive deeper into that in this video. But basically, I'm not really mad at this album. J. Cole definitely still feels like he has something to prove. And I feel like as long as he has that hunger and passion and drive and that story to tell, he will always be an interesting rapper to listen to. Some of the things that he says in this album resonate with me deeply. There's a particular song where he talks about how rappers should be rapping about being broke more because most rappers are broke. Even the ones that you see driving the Lamborghinis and all that stuff, those are rented. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like they're all out here making money. My favorite song of the album, though, this is just on the first listen, would be 100 Mil. Incredible beat. The beat hit me hard, and then also just the concept of the song in general is really, really dope. The production in general is fantastic. I believe that most of the production was held by T Minus and probably Jermaine himself. Really, really cool production. Probably some of my favorite production from Jermaine, like you call him Jermaine, but J. Cole and his camp in a minute. I did like the Revenge of the Dreamers albums and the production on there, but Jermaine be keeping all the good bills, the good beats for himself, and this is no exception to that rule. Where there's some really just incredible production in this album, from front to back. Lyrically, J. Cole really does his thing. It's a strong, strong, strong album and effort. Mostly because it seems that there's a bit of intensity behind this. And one of the biggest jokes and running jokes with J. Cole's career is that he comes off as boring and that you fall asleep to his music. And a lot of that had to do with his monotone delivery and his structure not being overly complicated. But on this album, it's like he heard all his fans and was sick of being in that category because he definitely stepped up his cadence. He does some very interesting rhyme patterns and rhyme schemes that are like really compelling. Bar quality stronger than ever. The hunger is there too, and you could tell that it's one of those things when you think about it from a societal level. It's like, yeah, J. Cole is arguably one of the best rappers of our generation. He is one of the best rappers of our generation. But when you compare that to, the Jay-Z's and the Eminems and the Pharrells and all these top tier artists, he's still not in that category. So he still has a lot to prove. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that there's people who would disagree with me that, but I mean, even with the song 100 Mil, that's the song that kind of represents the entire theme of the album, in my opinion, where it's like in the off season where it's about, the grind has never stopped. And to me, it's almost kind of a subtle jab to like artists like Kendrick too, where, at this point, Kendrick has taken 3-4 years off and has not really been seen at all. And he's been lamping with his family and doing his thing. J. Cole has not. He has been grinding pretty hard on his record label, and he's been doing this thing with this album in general, just in terms of getting it done. Like I said before at the top of this video, this album was 3-4 years in the making, maybe longer, 6 years in the making. The documentary fleshes it out a lot more. Also in the documentary, we kind of get a little bit of glimpse in terms of his family and what he's been doing with those regards. A lot of people don't know that he does have a kid, which he does talk about in this album. One bar and one little stanza that he had on this album that I thought was really cool was where he talks about Puff Daddy, and he says something along the lines, totally paraphrasing, of the last fight I got into was with Puff Daddy, and I listened to a CD when I was in seventh grade, and this is one of those things where it's like, man, that's like, as someone who listened to Puff Daddy CD, me and J. Cole are the same exact age, not exact age, but we're both 37 years old, so we both listened to that same CD at the same time. But I have not gotten into a fight with Puff Daddy, who I consider to be one of the biggest influences of my life. Not in my later years, but whatever. I digress. The point is that J. Cole's really tapping into something here, and he's really speaking to dudes like me. You know, these Generation X post pre-millennials that are really trying to, still find their place. You know what I'm saying? Because even though we might be successful, even though we might be happy with our families and our futures and whatnot, we still have so much more to fight for that goes beyond just our being. And that's kind of what I get from this album, is that J. Cole feels like there's more to do. And I really do appreciate that intensity and that obligation, because you can hear it in his music. But getting back to the actual songs, I feel like overall, this album's cool. Like I said, I'm not mad at this album. I do think it leans a little heavy on the boom bap side for a 2021 album. Because, while boom bap is making a comeback, and maybe J. Cole's going to be the person who spearheads that, I think I would say like half the album is like straight boom bap, which is fine. Like, I'm not hating, I love boom bap. But this kind of segues into my next part, is that this is probably J. Cole's least marketable album. There's really only one or two songs on here. I would say 100 Mil is definitely a single. And there's another song, I don't have the song in front of me, but when you hear the song, you can tell that this song is meant for the radio. It has a very kind of Spanish tinged guitar beat going on. And that's almost like a song that feels like the record labels were like, J. Cole, you need to give us a single, because the rest of his album is just you barring up on everybody. And for me, I appreciate the bars, you know what I'm saying? But from a record label mainstream pop artist standpoint, which is, you have to remember, J. Cole, his first two albums were very pop tinged, and he had singles that were designed to be on the radio, and at some point he did shun all that. He still has to cater to that, though. That's how he got to that 100 Mil, is tapping into that audience. There's no like song for the ladies on here or anything of that nature, and I mean, that's fine. He hasn't really done that in a minute. When you really think about what he's been doing over the last couple of years, he hasn't been making songs for the ladies, and that's for me. I don't really care, so it's not something that I'm looking for. But I'm looking at this album from a objective perspective, where it's like, I feel like this album could have been a more cohesive project across the board, but it leans more towards the conscious, what I like to call granola rap, that J. Cole has been kind of lying into, where it's like, I'm going to bar up at everybody. I'm going to say hot bars. I'm going to say meaningful stuff, which is great. But sometimes people just want to dance. Sometimes people just want to bop out in the shower. And I would say that this album has zero bops on it, until where you're not going to be, you might listen to this in the shower and start thinking about slavery and stuff, and it's like, cool, not really the album that you would listen to in the club, and that's fine. I mean, when you listen to Revenge of the Dreamers, you had songs like Down Bad, that had that vibe and that tone to it that you could play in a club and just kind of go nuts on. There's not really a lot of that. There are two surprise guest features on this album. One is from Lil Baby, who pops up on there kind of out of nowhere. It's kind of interesting to hear, because Lil Baby has really coined himself into this generation with his unique voice. Like the second we heard him, it was like, oh, that's Lil Baby, dope. And then the other one is 21 Savage. Now, this verse in 21 Savage, to me, it's crazy. It might be the best verse of his career. It actually is the best verse of his career, in my opinion. I'm going to go ahead and say that. This is the best verse of his career. I think part of the reason why that is the case is because, the last collaboration that they did was a lot. And, a lot of people believe that J. Cole washed 21 Savage on that song, and I believe that he did too. So on this project, it seems that 21 Savage was like not gonna let that happen again, and so he busted out the rhyming dictionary and the flow structures and listened to some Rock Cannon, some Nas, and some Lil Uzi Vert, and he just switched up the flow. Like the flow is way different than anything else he's ever done in his stuff, and he kills it. It's actually probably one of the most refreshing things I've heard in a minute. So that's cool. Shout out 21 Savage on that. Um, but yeah, overall, this album is not bad. Like I don't really have I don't have a rating system anymore, at least in these type of videos. But it's strong. Um, I have to give it a couple more deep listens because I'm sure there's like really deep bars in there that will probably be like, oh man, he said that. But oftentimes that doesn't necessarily notch up your score. Like to me, like a good album, a great album is having music across the board where you do have those songs that a lady can sing to, but then at the same time you can bop out to in the club. And you also have those hard songs. I also do appreciate the boom bap songs. I also do appreciate trap beats. I appreciate all of it. And I think J. Cole is capable of all of it. Could be seen him do all of it. But this one kind of leans in a certain direction. And that's cool. But it's not great. But let me know what you think in the comments. Am I right? Am I wrong? I know there's a lot of J. Cole stands out there who are like, "Rrr." So tell me how wrong I am in the comments. And we will see you later. This is your boy Jaron Ikner back again. Star Trek TV, like, follow, share, all that stuff, and we'll be probably back again when another major album drops out. Because the only time we do review videos is when that happens. But it is what it is. Because I've been working on a movie, working on multiple albums, working on a bunch of stuff. We'll have plenty of content for you soon. If you want new content from me, go check out my other page, Jaron Ikner, where I have a lot of video essays. I just dropped a video essay on Common that's pretty funny. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.